To achieve victory, he knows he must repeat steps he has taken many times before.
Around a month before the fight, the only thing I think about is just training, constantly training. I enjoy it, but it gets sometimes boring because it's just constantly repetitious, over and over, same thing, over and over.
Snap, like you threw like that. There you go.
Trainer Kevin Rooney's unique methods have produced results in the ring.
Well, the purpose of the slip bag is to get the fighter moving his head, to get him in the habit of moving his head correctly. The right hand, left hook, right hand. Now give me 1-5-1. We use a number system where I call out the different numbers for the different punches. 9, 10, 11. Body, head.
When Kevin tells me the numbers of 4, 5, 6, I know exactly what they are. I don't even have to think.
But it is at times difficult to get boxing off his mind.
80% of the training is all emotional. I try not to think about the fights, but usually I always think about the fight in my mind. While I'm in training, I would dream about the fight. And I always dream that I lose, and it's very scary. I was, oh my God, what am I gonna do now? And it's funny, when you dream you lose, you wake up thinking that you lost. And it's scary.
But when Mike Tyson entered the ring against Larry Holmes, he wasn't scared. He was angry at his opponent, who had openly attacked his character in the press.
I'm going down in history, not Mike Tyson. He go down in history as an SOB. If he do happen to win the fight, down the line, he's going to destroy himself.
Mike Tyson, however, would do his talking in the ring.
Round one. Called. And it's over. Odell Hadley has jumped in the ring. The fight is over.
This was a man who had picked himself up from the mean streets of the city to stand at the pinnacle of his sport. This era belonged to Mike Tyson.
This is Brownsville. This neighborhood is Brownsville. As you see, ambulance still, going off around here. You couldn't go up through these neighborhoods without knowing about Mike Tyson, about Big Ed Mike, Throughout this whole neighborhood. This whole neighborhood, it's not only like one specific part, it's the whole Brownsville and other neighborhoods. You go to Crown Heights, you go to East New York, they know about Mike Tyson, they know about Big Ed Mike,
Mike Tyson was born on June 30th, 1966 in Brooklyn, New York. He is 11 years old when he is sent to the Spofford Juvenile Center for armed robbery. Muhammad Ali, heavyweight champion of the world at the time and boxing's living legend, visits the center where Tyson is serving time. For young Mike, it is a revelation.
Jim Jacobs was a fight film collector. A man named Cus D'Amato was a good friend of Jim. And Cus is a man I'd been dealing with because he was the manager both of Jose Torres and Floyd Patterson. Jose Torres becoming light heavyweight champion, and of course, Floyd Patterson, heavyweight champion of the world.
Was the punch that Floyd dropped Johansson with the hardest punch he ever hit anybody with?
I can't answer that one because I would have to go around and answer all the guys that I hit.
This was the period of 1960. Cus moved to Catskill, where he set up a camp and gym for disadvantaged kids. We were happy to support him, so between 1960 and 1970, we supported the camp. And one day, out of a clear blue, we went to the gym, and Cus took Doris by the arm and led her, and he pointed to a fighter in the corner and said, "That's Mike Tyson. He's going to be the next heavyweight champion of the world and the youngest heavyweight champion, even younger than Floyd Patterson."
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the heavyweight championship of the 1981 National Junior Olympic Boxing Championships from Catskill, New York, 15-year-old Mike Tyson.
Here we go. Bombs away, Jimmy. Let's watch this carefully. Because Tyson in the blue is a bomber. He's trained by no other than Cus D'Amato. And there it's all over.
He has a couple fighters, and for me to cook. So I said I was going to try it out to see how it works. And I seem to enjoy doing it, working with the kids. But I would say about 50 kids.
Stay close to him so he can't uppercut. He was 13 and a half years old, I believe. We trained him steadily. When he got to the point of slipping punches, we had a difficult time getting people to box with him because he proved to be a very hard puncher with both hands.
It's the little things, the discipline that, you know, that Cuss was instilling in him. You gotta do this, you gotta do this. Then come to the gym, go home and go to bed, you know. Like Cuss always said, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So it wasn't like Mike never could go out. He could go to school dances, he could have a girlfriend. Cuss encouraged him to have girlfriends when he was 16 and 17.
Excuse me, start talking now.
The main discipline was to have a goal, and the goal was to become heavyweight champion of the world, or I really should say to become a successful fighter. And to do that, you gotta put your nose to the grindstone. That means gym work. Mike was a hard worker in the gym.
I got Floyd Patterson the first time, and now here at the age of 76, I was fortunate enough to come into contact with this young man who has, in my opinion, all the requirements to be the great champion that I believe he's going to be. Maybe one of the best that ever lived, if he continues as interested as he is now.
I don't trust anybody in general. I don't like people to know me at all. And I just recently trust him because the same much I trust him, I guess he trusts me. And he trusts me a lot, so. But no one really knows Mike Tyson. Nobody's really friendly with Mike Tyson.
Why?
Except Customato.
Mike was going to begin his pro career in late '84, but he had hurt his finger in training one day. So Mike came into the city, and for 1 week, Mike stayed with me, and we would go to the hand doctor twice a day for therapy. We'd go to the movies in the evening, we'd go hang out, and that was the first time I actually met Mike, and we got to know each other. But after the 5 days, Cuss came down to the city to pick him up, and Cuss said, "Thanks a lot, Steve, for taking care of Mike." I said, "No problem, Cuss." I was ready to shake Mike's hand and say, "Hey, Mike, take care." And Mike came over and gave me this great hug. This great hug. He said, "Thanks, Steve. Thanks. Thank you." He's like that with everybody. White people, black people, green people. Just like a teddy bear.
Tyson has Mercedes on the defensive. The fighters exchange jabs and Mercedes is rocked. Mercedes is hurt and Tyson knows it. Punches rain from all angles. Mercedes staggers backwards. A ponderous body attack by Tyson. Two blistering hooks and Mercedes is down. Mercedes has had enough. Mike Tyson makes his professional debut with a convincing first-round knockout of Hector Mercedes in Albany.
Customato was an incredibly brilliant teacher of boxing. He was the first person to know that boxers are controlled not by physical, but by emotional and psychological characteristics of them. Many trainers tell their fighters, "Don't be afraid of that guy. Don't be afraid of him. You'll beat him easy." The trainer doesn't understand that no matter what he tells his own fighter about not being afraid, the fighter still will have fear. Not about getting hit, but by losing, by being exposed to the crowd. Cuss, knowing that all fighters feel like that, would tell his fighter, "When you walk in that ring, you're going to be scared to death." Every fighter feels like that.
boxing's involved, you can never get bored. Like some people, they can make love, have sex all day, and they never get bored, and that's how boxing is with me. I just love to box.
Move your head. Keep the head down when you come up with the eights. Keep your head down.
It's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not coming up, but it's starting to come up. You can make it perfect. It's good, but it's not perfect. I don't succeed when I make a guy or help a guy become champion of the world. I succeed when I make that fellow become champion of the world and independent of me.
How hard you punch, and a lot of fighters punch hard, it's not as important as not getting hit. That's the most important thing in the world. Cus D'Amato devised a system consistently to move their head. In moving their head, it put them in a position to throw a punch back at the same time the other guy was punching.
I get excited, like just like a guy who's no longer capable of any sexual involvement.
Mike was such a master at doing this that after 1 or 2 minutes of round one, the other fighter would try it again, throw his best jab, miss Mike entirely, get hit with a tremendous punch. And in the fighter's mind, he said, "What the heck was that? I don't like that. Let me try one more time." Throw his best jab, miss, get a tremendous shot back, bam, and right here, he stops throwing punches. He says, "That's it. I can't win."
First of all, I would like to thank all of you for coming to celebrate Cus. And I would like to start right away by presenting to you one of Cus's old friends, Mr. Norman Mailer.
On the way over, I was thinking of what characterized Cus most for me. And I guess if I were to put it in a sentence, it would be that I never knew a man who was not a writer who thought more like a writer. The thing I love most about Cus is the sensitivity and insights he brought to one of the most difficult subjects in the world, which is masculine courage. It's a field that no one has made great contributions in. Hemingway, we could say fairly, was obsessed by it. But Cus had an appreciation of it in relation to fighters that, we're using an odd word for the fight game, but his appreciation of it was exquisite. I think it was for that reason more than any other that he was such a great coach and manager for young fighters.
He came about 8 o'clock in the morning. He knocked at my door, asked me if he could come over to see me. He came and he just sat there. He said, "I was looking for somebody that wasn't there." And the tears were just rolling down his face. He said Cus was not there.
I believe that, I help keep Mike on the right path, and hopefully, you remember, you learn something from someone, and you carry it on in your life. So when Cus died, I just said, let's fulfill Cus's prophecy.
God comes to me with a spark. I fan the spark until it becomes a flame. I feed the flame until it becomes a fire. Then I feed the fire until it becomes a roaring blaze. That's what I have to do.
The young fighters admire Mike. He brings to the ring a very exciting ethic. He immediately tries to knock you out.
Make sure you put down the next heavyweight champ. Yeah. And that's you.
Thank you. We decided the time was at hand for the marketing of Mike with a technique that had never been used before. We prepared cassettes of all of Mike's fights and sent those cassettes with a covering letter to the top sports writers and top television personalities throughout the country.
People would want to be in my shoes. They really think so because they say, wow, I can make money, I can get rich. But if they had to go through some of the things I had to go through, I think they would cry. Sometimes it's so depressing you got to go through. They always want something. They want to find a way to get your money. It's always people just as hard as you work in a gym, there's people working that hard to separate you from your money. Now I was ready to challenge for the heavyweight title. A lifelong dream was about to come true. The only person standing in my way of the title was Trevor Burbick.
He is undefeated in his professional career with 27 wins, no defeats, 25 KOs. He is the challenger, Mike Tyson. And in the red corner, formerly of Jamaica, his professional record consists of 31 wins, 4 defeats, 1 draw, and 23 KOs. He is the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Trevor Burbick.
If you didn't close when I tell you to break your stop punch and step back clean. Any questions from the challenger or chief second? Any questions from the champion or chief second? All right, let's get it on. Come on.
Referee Mills Lane stops the bout at 2 minutes, 35 seconds of the second round. The winner by a TKO and youngest and new WBC heavyweight champion of the world, MikeTyson.
After the big fight, there was a new challenge. Larry Holmes, who was champion for 7.5 years, until Spinks beat him in 1985. Now it was my turn and my era.
He was going with three rather celebrated women simultaneously. One was Robin, the other was Miss America, and the third one was the #1 model. And I put one into one section, one in another section, all in second, and one in the third section. They were completely separated, so that there was no way for the press to focus on the three of them being together, these three women he was going
I'm going down in history, not Mike Tyson. He go down in history as a SOB. If he do happen to win the fight, down the line, he's going to destroy himself.
Mike Tyson entertains the public. When he enters the arena, it's the same feeling people get if they're going to watch a picture like Jaws.
Strong like an ox, fight with